Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Lisa Richardson. We are coming to you from beautiful downtown Beaufort, here today to share all about the Bridges Prep School. First joining us are two chairmen of the board, Miss Dee Matthews and also Mr. Marty Riley, talking about the status of the school and all about the construction project ahead. Joining us also is Chris Wilson. He is newly the interim head of school. So stay around and we're going to learn a lot more on this episode of 843 TV, where communities come to speak.
(843 TV), where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
(843 TV),
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. We are here going to talk about Bridges Prep today, and we are here with Dee Matthews and Chris Wilson, who are leaders there at the school, and we're going to start with learning a little bit about them. Dee, thank you for joining us. Chris, Dee, you are the chairman of the board there. Tell us a little bit about your role.
My role basically is to lead the board. In other words, I am but one vote on the board, if that makes sense, but it is to lead the board and to ensure that when we do have board meetings, that the things that are on our agenda are what is necessary to run the school and to be updated, to update our community, the stakeholders, as well as ensuring that the recognition to certain teachers or students get done, that contracts or anything else that needs to be signed for work for the school is all in order.
You've got an exciting staff. We've got one sitting right here. Tell us a little bit about Chris.
We had to make some decisions. Our head of school took another position, gave his resignation, and so therefore we wanted to make sure that the transition was a smooth one, that it wasn't bringing someone from the outside that didn't know the school, didn't know the people. So the board did meet on this decision, and we talked, and we are actually, we're more than excited over the choices we made. Chris was the upper school principal. For those of you that don't know him, he has this personality that like he could meet and greet. He is great with the teachers, great with the students. They all love him. So he was that warm body that was very enlightening to be around. Then Dr. Earps, who can't be with us today, she has some things that are going on at the school that she needed to stay and handle. She is just extremely intelligent about what it needs to be for instruction, curriculum, for those things. And so she's the analytical one, not as bubbly sometimes as Mr. Wilson, but together they complement and they run it, and it is phenomenal. We made an absolutely great decision, and the transition and the continuity is awesome for the school and everybody there. So,
well,
yes.
Chris, congratulations. First of all, I know you've got to be very excited.
Very.
Share with us a little bit about your background, not just at Bridges Prep, but maybe even prior to that.
Sure. I am starting my 19th year in education. I have spent the last 17 years teaching band, teaching instrumental music. I spent most of that time in Illinois, and about 2 years ago I moved to the Low Country, to Beaufort. We had some family here, and looking forward to the warm weather and spending more time with some family. And I was lucky enough to apply for a position here at Bridges as the upper school principal at the beginning of the year, and recently have been promoted to the interim head of schools, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm sure that you're going to bring a lot of excitement, as Ms. Dee said. So it's spring now, as we mentioned. Isn't it beautiful out today? Awesome weather and warm, and with spring semester of school comes a lot of different activities. So let's talk about some of the curriculum and some of those other things.
Well, the curriculum, I would really turn that over to Chris. As a board, we deal with facilities, finance, and those things, but when it comes to the actual running of the school, that is something that we tend, and again, we put in people that we think are great. There was no hesitation on our part when we did the transition, so I would let Chris give you some ideas about the curriculum and what's going on right now, because I know you have some testing, but some other things. So.
Sure. Right now we are we're in the middle of our second semester. We have grades K through 10 at in our facilities. We're located on 3 campuses at the moment. K through 2 is at our Celadon building. Our 3 through 7 is on our Boundary Street facility, and then we also have 8, 9, and 10 at our Green Street location. This spring, as soon as Dr. Herbst and I took over, we got to work really trying to figure out what's working well for us, what's not working so well, evaluating our staff, evaluating some of our curriculum and procedures, and as we move forward into the new facility, we're trying to make some decisions that are not typical for most schools, because we'll have to be moving into some learning cottages, which will take our grades 8, 9, 10, and as we add 11th grade next year. So we'll be taking all of those students out to the site, which is kind of exciting for us. But scheduling those and trying to make sure that we have everybody in the right place is a bit of a challenge, but we'll get there.
Now, clearly you're expanding because 11th grade is coming next year. Share with us where your enrollment is now, and maybe what's your faculty look like, staff-wise, numbers-wise.
Right now, our enrollment is a little over 600 students. At the high school level, we're right at about 120. Next year, we'll be almost at 200 high school students. Our faculty runs about 70 at the moment. We're probably going to be upwards of 80 next year. And that's kind of where we're at enrollment-wise. That's great.
What do you anticipate for 11th grade as far as the curriculum is concerned?
We're going to have the typical 11th grade classes, chemistry, physics, algebra, we're looking to try to add some AP courses. Of course, that depends on number of students that would be able to take that course, and we also have to make sure that we have certified teachers that are doing that. Right now, we do have one teacher that's certified for AP Bio, and we're looking to have a couple of others certified over the summer. We're also doing dual enrollment credit now with TCL, and so those are some of the things that we're offering as we grow into a full mature high school.
Okay, there's a lot to learn, so you all stay right here. We'll be right back with more 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. Now we have joining us Mr. Marty Miley. He is the assistant chair on the board here at Bridges Prep. Thank you for coming, Mr. Miley.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well, we know there's some exciting news. You are working towards your own campus site and groundbreaking. First of all, share with us where that location is.
That location is off of Highway 170, straight across the road from where the big Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Authority tower is. It's almost between Goatee Hill Road and Castle Rock Road, where the old Beaufort Fun Park used to be.
Now, clearly this is a project that's been in the works for many years. So where do you stand now with the physical side and where your plan is?
We're at the permitting agencies, OCRM, OSF, those permitting agencies. So we have drawings to those folks out, waiting for their answer back to give us a building permit and a go-ahead to start construction.
Which is probably the most timely and patient-required process, right? All the permits and all of those things.
Absolutely. It's just a process that you have to go through, and it's very time-consuming. Some things you can't get before you have. It's a piece of the puzzle that you can't go forward until you have all the pieces. So.
Of course. What does your final building project look like? Share with us what to envision.
Envision something that looks remarkable and very eye-appealing from the road. It will be a K through 8 facility. I mean, a K through 12 facility. All on one campus is our desire to have that in the end. At the first point, and at right now, what we'll be constructing is the middle and high school, which will be grades 8 through 11 next year, and then 8 through 12, because our first graduating class will be 2020.
What an exciting goal to work towards. That's only 2 years away now.
Yes, it is. It's very, well, we have the best, Vice Chair Miley here is the best person I know to do that, because this is his area of expertise. He has taken us from the bush hogging, is that, yeah, And will take us through the brick and mortar. Yes.
Yeah.
It's great.
Share a little bit more about that brick and mortar process. What do you see? Tell us about the modulars that are on site.
Well, we'll have to go with the modulars. We just we ran into some hiccups through permitting for our encroachment permit from SCDOT, so it kind of slowed us down in the design process. So in order to get our facility satisfied for next school year, we've go lease some modulars and put those on site. We should have site work up and going here shortly. So we'll do the modulars for a year or so until we can get the main campus up and running and move the children over. So that's where we are.
Sometimes people can become a little impatient, and it seems like the process is taking so long. What would you share with those folks about some of that?
It's back to the pieces of puzzles and getting everything aligned. You have different jurisdictions that you have to satisfy. Sometimes they don't all agree on what the satisfaction is, so you have to try to meet somewhere in the middle. SCDOT and our encroachment permit in entryway has probably been our biggest hurdle to jump. We just don't have a lot of frontage on Highway 170. So to access the road and make sure it's safe for children and other pedestrians and other vehicles that will be traveling that road today, we had to do several traffic impact analysis on it to get traffic counts. It's just been a hurdle to jump. It almost took us a year to get through that process.
Because so much does go into the legwork, if you will, the part that you can't see, the traffic patterns, the underground needs, all that stuff. There's so much to consider.
It is very difficult, and as someone who's been in education, who's been a teacher in a classroom and administrator, for me, the biggest thing was to walk into the new building, whether as a teacher or as an administrator, okay, this is what we need. As a teacher, you wanted to know what's in your classroom. Do I have a Promethean board? Do I have enough desks? Are my supplies here? That things. As an administrator, there were other things that had to be handled. Do I have the needs and the supplies for all the teachers? Do I have enough room? As the nurses' supplies, all that. I never realized until working on this, I had no idea all of the bureaucratic red tape that goes through before the brick and mortar can ever start. Yes. And I've learned a lot. So for those people that are unsure of it and do not understand it, I think that I would have to say to them, until you actually experience it, I'm not sure that you can understand all the obstacles that come up, or the length of time sometimes, or the meetings and the long hours we've spent. As he said, meeting in the middle with people, agreeing to disagree or coming to a consensus. So yes, it's been an experience and a very learning.
How can the public help support you all? What are some things that you might need, or is there anything that folks can do to support you as a board and thus this future project?
I would say fundraising.
Yeah, of course, right.
I mean, that's probably the biggest source we need right now. Is we have money coming in from USDA, the Rural Development Loan, but it's never enough. There's always stuff that has to be done at a school. Repair this, repair that, and it absorbs so much funds. So
now, whose job is that to handle oversee the fiscal, financial end of that?
Well, again, we have an annual fundraiser, which is our Shrimp and Grits Festival, and this year's is April 28th. So if any of the viewers or anyone listening or watching would want to help us in some way, please come out to Port Royal during that, because it's off of Paris Avenue, and there will be everything imaginable for people to do. And again, it is run, and the PTO is instrumental in it, and they have, in the years since they've started, this will be the 5th one, they have probably gone, I would say they have doubled money they have earned each year, and last year was phenomenal, and they put it all back into the school. But Marty's right, we need a capital fund program. And we are working on some things, so we do have a group that is working on that now. So in case you might want to buy a brick with your name on it, let me know.
There you go. In the meantime, come out to that Shrimp and Grits Festival, April 28th, right here in Beaufort. Stay right here. We'll be back with more 843 TV. Welcome back to to 843 TV. We are learning all this exciting news about Bridges Prep School, and we're going to talk about something exciting that just happened. You had some Chinese students come to visit. Tell us about the purpose of that visit.
We have partnerships with China, and we are actually in the process of developing a partnership with Greece. So at this point, there are 2 schools in China. This one is close to Beijing and the Great Wall. Our students went there last year. We've had some summer camps, so we had a winter camp this year. We had 8 students arrive and 2 teachers from Chongqing. Yes, getting the name straight is sometimes a challenge. But again, we had 8 students, 2 teachers. They arrived on February 7th. They came and we had open arms waiting for them. We had parents and even a teacher. We distributed them out. They stayed with other students, and we had that partnered and fixed even before their arrival. So once they arrived, they really are a joy. It's wonderful. And Mr. Wilson and the school had so many activities planned for them that it was great. So I'll share and let him share with those activities.
Sure. We many of our actually all of our students stayed with host families, and a lot of the experience for our Chinese friends was to become independent and to spend time with the host family, experiencing new things. They were very adamant about not having 2 students stay together. They didn't want them to rely on each other. And so the host families took our students all over the place. But we did have quite a few activities for our students. During the day, the students attended school with our students at BPS. We had 16, 17-year-olds, and they would go to class with each student. After school, we had a couple of times where they would go to a basketball game that some of our kids were participating in. We had a chess club one day that they also played chess. We on the weekend we did a Beaufort day. We ended up renting out 2 carriages and doing the history tour of Beaufort in the morning, and then they shopped downtown and spent the day eating, and then the big thing they wanted to do was run across the bridge like Forrest Gump. So you might have seen a bunch of us. I think it was like 20 plus people walking across the bridge that day. So. They visited Charleston. They took the Fort Sumter tour.
Wow.
And I believe they also went down to Savannah as well and did some shopping.
They did quite a bit, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
So I've got to ask, that was quite a culture shock, I'm sure. What did they think of the Low Country?
A lot of water is what they said. A lot of water, okay. They said there's a lot of water. I believe where they're from, they're surrounded by...
they're more in the mountain range and the higher areas. And the difference is in Shanghai, and I was there last year with a group. Shanghai is sort of like us. They have the beaches, the water around. As a matter of fact, they have palm trees. They have camellias, azaleas. That was something I found fascinating. But the students acclimate just like we did there. They come, they share our culture, they share our food, and they learn to like it. You know, some of it better than others, obviously, but they try. They're very open to trying. And with that, when we had the Chinese party and the Happy New Year party for
them,
it
fell on their New Year.
It did.
Right.
And so with that, they actually cooked some dishes for us.
How about that?
Then we did a Low Country boil.
Of course,
in other words, we gave a little bit of both, and it was great. I mean, their reception of us and our reception and our students of them was really remarkable. It's what the international program for us is all about.
So clearly it's a mutually beneficial partnership.
Very much.
What are the biggest things that stand out? I know we've shared a lot of detail.
A lot of our kids that come and participate, either our students go there or Chinese students or Greek students come here. We learn a lot about the relationships that these students have with the families they stay with, and they keep in touch. One of our host families had hosted Chinese students before, and the Chinese student that was in Shanghai was texting her saying, "I'm your Chinese daughter," you know. And so, you know, she was upset that somebody else was coming to stay with her, but they treated those students just like they were their own family. And my understanding is that the English was amazing from the first day to the last day, and how much better it becomes for those students.
That was going to be a question I had. How did that language barrier take place?
That really is very minimal because they speak a little English, and at first, Mr. Wilson's right. They were a little apprehensive about the language because they're unsure of it, just like
right?
There are a few things that I know in Chinese, but not a lot, so I would be maybe less comfortable in their area. But they really come with open minds, and what it gives to both sets of students, ours and theirs, is the ability, as you and I know, and as we know with the television audience, this is no longer just Beaufort or just South Carolina or America. It's a global society. So the doors we're opening to both our students here and the students that we receive or the countries we visit is actually, I think, enhancing that global society and giving our students a picture of a world that otherwise they might not have the opportunity, certainly not at this age maybe, to see. So I think it's a great experience.
Absolutely. So this is a focus of yours at Bridges Prep, this international program. What might be ahead for that?
We are looking into a few things. Of course, as many of your viewers know, we're in the process of building a school. So the next few months are going to be very booked for us or busy for us. So we're planning maybe something in August, or not August, in October with our Chinese friends. We want to continue the program, but I think at this point in time we need to evaluate where we're going to be, and we would like to have a summer camp, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. We've got some things that are in the works. We just haven't nailed anything down yet on that.
Well, this has been exciting to learn more and more about Bridges Prep. Every time we come, new things are happening. And Chris, good luck to you as you take this new step in your career and at Bridges Prep. And thank you, Dee, for sharing. And thank you all for watching today's episode of 843 TV, where communities come to speak.